Hello and welcome to Wrestleopinionated. This is our weekly show all about the shows of AEW. We are your hosts. I am Morg, and this is...
Werewolf expert Matt Strange, and this is...
Eating Weetabix, Muir. I lie, these are Bickies, the cheap little alternative. I'm not even such a poser, guys.
This is the least exciting 420 I've ever recorded. Just saying.
I was considering.
Boys, how have you been?
I was considering a beer with the podcast, but
Ooh,
I have stuck with water for now.
Good. I don't want a podcast with degenerates.
No, not more degenerate.
I want good boys like me.
Oh, I've been.
Hi, welcome to our wrestling podcast. You've been good, Morg.
Yeah, not too bad. Mr. Muir, anything interesting happening in your world?
Making a cannibal underground base thing in Going Medieval, which is the new city builder I'm playing. But other than that, no.
Oh, I might have to look it. I've actually dipped my toe into an anime game. I don't think it's your kind of anime. It's very, very cutesy, over the top, but it's very Final Fantasy, so I'm enjoying it. All the female characters.
Doki Literature Club.
All the female characters are in stockings, and all the male characters are very androgynous. It's a very classic.
No.
Yeah.
But
the story's
activate my
really
80s,
good.
90s anime snob.
but the stories. Oh, that's the only anime I watch. But the stories.
Well, we could do Strange's take on anime again at some point.
Yes.
What's it called, Morg? Let's have a look. Let's get something for our fans.
Oh, you'll hate it. It's called Genshin Impact.
Oh,
I think I've heard of that. There you go. If you're a weeb degenerate, check out.
It's very predatory, that game. It's just a mobile game that's been ported over.
Wrestling!
Right.
Wrestling.
This is our wrestling podcast, and as such, this might be the first time you've listened to it, in which case you would need to know that we have a tier list, which is how we give our overall scores for BTE and Dynamite, and how we give our scores for the individual matches on Dynamite. That tier list will now be explained to you by Mr. Strange in a medium I gave to him literally just before we started the podcast.
Hi there. As werewolf expert Matthew Strange, I will be describing the tier list via the means of tribes from Werewolf the Apocalypse, the classic Nothing After Revised or Dub 20. Thank you very much, you fucking new product purchasing scum. Right, so tier list. We start off with a D, our lowest rank match. We don't go any lower than that unless we're being facetious. A D rank match is a bad match. The story's lame, it's a squash, it's too short, it's botcherific, just like the Vienna tribe from Werewolf the Apocalypse, because nothing says true Irish background than the American fetishization of "Te-hee-to-ho, we're Celtic heroes." From there we rock up to a C. C is a good match. C match does everything you want it to. Doesn't have to be mind-blowing. You got a little bit of story, you know why they're in the ring, the wrestling's solid enough, you might have a few slips and botches, but you've had a good time. Those 10 to 20 minutes weren't wasted. And as much as it loathes me to do so, I'm going to give it to the Silver Fangs of Werewolf. They've got a lot of character background, they tie into the story, they make good, redeeming heroes or terrible NPCs.
Terrible leaders.
Next one up is a B. A B is a very good match. This is match +1. We know why the wrestlers in the ring. The wrestling is crisp, it's cool. It's just that little bit better than, that was alright. You're like, yeah, that was a good match. B match is normally where I find my favourites, weirdly, although you'd assume A ranks would be higher. Just because that B match is just a crisp classic in your day-to-day show. Just like the fucking Shadow Lords, best tribe in Werewolf the Apocalypse. Win at any cost, loads of background time with all the meta, and you can play redeeming hero or manipulative Blackadder bastard. My boys. You leave my spoopy angry boys alone. I love them. From there, we rock up to an A. An A is a phenomenal match. Typically, you'll only see one every month or so. We'd like them nightly, but it doesn't happen. They've got great story going in. Hopefully a little story coming out. I want to know why those people are there. The wrestling is interesting. It's fast. It's crisp. We get some cool spots. Maybe a little bit of colour. Everything dresses up so there's a storyline you can engage with and what's on the screen is good. Just like the red talons in Werewolf. Lots of people don't know how to play them because they're fucking hard. But if you want a tragic, angry, real... I want a red talon. If you want to feel the heart of what Werewolf the Apocalypse is, it's the red talons, not for noobs. And from there we rock up to the S-rank match. A magical treasure of a match, normally only appearing once at a pay-per-view every now and then. You're hoping for things like undead wizards versus biker gangs, or time-traveling John Cena's, or luchadors versus Joshis. That doesn't mean it has to be an over-the-top match. You can just have a phenomenal piece of storytelling which claps off your story and has great wrestling, things that blow the paradigm, and everybody enjoys. Just like the only true S-rank tribe in Werewolf the Apocalypse, the Bone Gnawers. Everyone loves the Bone Gnawers. They're interesting, quirky, good story, good heart. That's what I want from an S-rank match. So D, bad. C, good. B, very good. A, phenomenal. And S, wonderful.
I shall believe you gave S to a bunch of dog sleeper rounders.
How dare you? That's a frenzy roll. So there we go, Morg. I'm running Werewolf later.
Right, moving on. Yeah, time for the news. And Mr. Strange, apparently you've got quite a few little bits and pieces. So if you want to kick off, and then I will throw in my little bit.
3 little pieces. You can now buy an AEW replica belt for $400. They teased a little side panel of it. Is it 800? Fuck. Either way, it's stupid. Yeah. They teased a little size panel on social media of a new belt, and people were like, the trios are here. They were not here. It's a merch belt. But if you have too much expendable money, why not buy a $400 toy belt that your friends can challenge you for it?
I mean, I think that should be the rule. If anybody buys one of those replica belts, they should be able to be challenged for it.
Yeah, 100%. It's how it goes. Next bit of news. Tommy End, a.k.a. Aleister Black, is rumoured from such reliable sources as bigger podcasts than us, and me, Magoo, is going to show up in AEW after his 90 days are up. So, I like Aleister Black, but we do have a very flooded roster. Which leads us into piece of news, part 3. AEW Rampage debuting Friday the 13th of August.
Oh, what could possibly go wrong?
Mate, I was like, I'm not superstitious, but let's be honest, AEW doesn't always have the best luck with things like sound design and other things, injuries. Let's do the debut on Friday the 13th. It's bold, but yeah. New show, and you never know. Aleister Black might show up at it if that's.
I'm going to say Friday the 13th. The spooky guy from Amsterdam.
Sadly, he can't.
That's not within 90 days.
Oh yes, of course.
I was doing the maths after I said it, and I was like, wait a second. Not called Massive Explosion, which upsets me.
Yeah, Massive Explosion would have been much better. AEW not the only place to have major tech issues, though. Lots of reports coming in that the new Dubsy streaming platform, Peacock or whatever it is, really screwed up during Hell in a Cell, and there's been a lot of backlash over that.
I mean,
there was the table, the broken table that was put in after. Brilliant. Sorry, I just remembered that.
I mean, I think watching a black screen would have been better than watching that pay-per-view by all sounds of it. So maybe they were doing them a favour.
Ooh.
Yeah, but they turned Rhea Ripley heel and possibly tried to turn Charlotte face.
Imagine trying to turn Charlotte Flair face. The fucking audacity.
What are you going to do when Charlotte Mania runs wild over you?
So yes, she'll be in AEW soon, following her fella. Yeah, the piece of news I've got is going to sort of like relate to something else coming up in a bit. So currently, AEW are in the red. This is not due to any problems they are having as a company. This is due to the investment in their gaming division. I believe it's an 8-figure number.
It's an over the 8-figure number.
Yeah,
which...
so I mean that's at least what, 10 million?
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, that means nothing to me.
Yeah,
It's not very much for game development, basically. As much as I'd like to go, ooh, that's a big number, it ain't much for making a game.
Yeah. But at the same time, and it's more a fact of it's investing in the future than anything else.
Well, it's what you got to do, really.
Yeah. So it's not something that people who are not fans can really. If anyone is sort of poking it, going, "Oh, AEW in the red," well, it doesn't quite work like that.
Shad Khan is super rich.
Yeah, and Tony is specifically under orders to waste some of Shad's money before he dies. So moving on, social media, where
social
we
media.
pull a piece of social media out.
There's clips of the wrestling game. Guys. There's a little render of Darby Allin doing some of his moves. But it's only like a few clips of footage, but looks pretty good. He's fighting a green blob man. The normal things you select your moves with in the character gen screen. So hopefully there's character gen, but looks like a better version of wrestling games.
I just want it to be somewhere where you can go. I know it may sound like an old man here, but I want it to be like localized co-op. You can just play with
4 pads in the same room.
Yes, mate.
Please, 4 pads in one room.
Technology
long lost.
I don't care. I don't care. I think it will, because I think that's the guys who are behind it like that kind of game. But I don't care if it's got an online mode. Just don't make the online mode the only thing you can do. I want to be able to invite my mates round and make 4 stupid characters and create a stable and and beat Kenny for the title or whatever, Yeah.
It has been too long since I had Adolf Hitler fight Jesus in a Hell in the Cell match. Well, that's all I'm saying. So
all I'm saying
character gen.
I want to be able to fight the wingmen because they think I'm not dressed well enough. That's all I want.
More on that.
Oh, special match.
More on that very soon. Time for our reviews. That was a good segue, that was. As always, we open up with our review of this week's BTE, or Being the Elite. We are still not reviewing Dark or Dark Elevation because they are just...
now Rampage is coming.
Yeah, probably not, unless Dark turns back into what it used to be.
Well, when they tour, maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah. So, BTE, Being the Elite. Mr. Muir, over to you.
It's going to be quick, boys, because there was very little on this BTE. There wasn't just reclips of things. Hollywood quiz with Luchasaurus. I thought this was boring because it just isn't interesting.
Definitely one of the weak ones.
Yeah, doing the same joke. Just going, oh, I'm really smart. It's like, yes, but you're meant to be a dinosaur, mate. Play up to being a dinosaur. Then we just had a load of elite clips for ages until we got to a bit where they were just calling him Biff and bullying him to clean his shoes. So yeah, that thing happened.
Yeah, I remember.
Then we moved on to the only good bit, which was the wingman talking again, and then them getting confused because they think that Peter's sucking Benoni's cock again, but he's actually trying to teach him how to eat sushi because he can't eat sushi properly. And then it devolves into them all trying to eat sushi, which doesn't go very well for any of them. Brilliant.
Bless BTE's necessary dick jokes.
Yes,
Thank you. You feed the 12-year-old inside me.
Then we move on to the BTE belt versus Marco, which was 10 free shots. Marco wins. Don't care. Move on to the trick shots with Nick. Sorry, I can't wait to get to the show. This BTE was just very weak. Then we go to the trick shots, which I think are a bit lame this week. They're just one shot straight into the hoop, and then the other was 2 shots straight into those hoops of those games that you see people taking massive shots
Nick.
out the arcade. He's normally better than this. Then we see the beatdown.
Come on,
Pac.
Nick. We know you listen.
And Brandon's starting to get
Nick.
more and more upset about healing.
Is
basically.
Pac injured?
Yes, I think so. Because Death Triangle can't be all fit at the same time.
Just make them a faction, guys. Come on. Just make them Los Ignorables. Just make them Los Ignorables.
I mean,
Sorry.
obviously what they are. But yeah, this was
Yeah.
a weak BTE, I've got to say. Like, I'd just give it a C
Was
minus.
short.
Yeah, it was very short. There wasn't many good skits. It looks like they just had an off week to me. But that's my review on it.
Yeah, nothing more to
I don't
say.
really have a lot to add.
Yeah, there is nothing more to say. It wasn't very strong. I watched it just before we did the recording, and I was like, well, that was a thing I watched.
That happened for 16 minutes. But
Yeah. It wasn't
It is
long.
what it
It
is.
wasn't offensive.
Yeah.
I think
No.
they're going a little bit back to because originally it was just following the Bucks around. So I think it was just a bit of those. We get those every now and again. So moving
Lazy week for them.
Yeah.
time for Dynamite. Now, we've not discussed this before, so I don't know what any of your opinions are on this.
Oh,
So
yeah,
this
no,
is going to
we're
be
going
interesting.
Lions.
Yeah. We start off with JR Schiavone, Taz, and Excalibur on commentary. Taz will leave after the first match. And we open up with the cage fight of Wardlow with Shawn Spears versus Jake Hager with Jericho. Hager wins by submission. We'll go into what happens afterwards. What did you guys think?
Well, I don't watch MMA, and a bunch of people who I've discussed with this do watch MMA, so my commentary is taken from... I can't say it was a good match, but I definitely watch it mystified. It looked like dull MMA to me, because all I know of MMA is you jump on the man and punch him on his head till he goes down.
Yep.
So I didn't hate it, but that could be the confusion. It was just sort of like MMA, but with bad wrestling punches. Not to put down anybody who does wrestling punches, but, you know, they don't look like real punches a lot of the time. So it's just sort of like weaker and crass. The camera work didn't help. The camera was always like coming down and going, oh, look, these punches are missing, which didn't, you know, just hurt the product. Wardlow did that kick off the wall from that one MMA match. I know that gif. That's a famous thing. Not sure why Hager was hurt. Was he legit hurt, or was that meant to be an injury he took in the match? Got bored during the 3 minutes of grappling in round 2, and normally I get excited by grappling, but because they weren't like throwing punches even like wrestlers or MMA fighters, I didn't get it. Wardlow is apparently more powerful than MMA people. I can deal with that establishment, as he has lasted longer with Hager than most people who fought him. And a lot of the wrestling moves weren't that great either. So that's MMA. I think from my entertainment value, how I watched it with this like mystified view of confusion in my face, it was a C. But I think technically it was a D. So yeah, go on, you two. You might have watched MMA.
I've watched MMA before, and this was kind of painful to watch. I'm not the biggest MMA fan, so don't shoot me if I get anything wrong. But as soon as Hager was pushed onto the things and looked stunned, and Wardlow just walked off, went, oh, best get my breath back, instead of just jumping on him and pounding him to death. Or every time a wrestler went down and wasn't instantly mounted and they started punching them, it just felt awful. This was bad. And doing a Hurricanrana in an MMA fight was just stupid, in my opinion. Like, I don't know what they were trying to gain from this, because no MMA fan will like this. No MMA fan will like this, and no wrestling fan, I think, will like this, because the wrestling moves weren't very good. So I don't know what they were trying to do here. I gave it a D, and let's move on to the more fun parts of this show, in my opinion.
Morg, do you watch MMA before you go?
I have watched MMA.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
I have watched some very specific matches. All 3 of them with a wrestler. In one shape or another. Oh
no, Phil!
Brock. And Brock. It was weird. The Raptors. So I'm going to take a little bit, and this show I am going to pull some stuff from the Raptors' enjoyment of the show.
Okay.
The Raptor didn't dislike this. I was a bit. I've got it down as unranked because I couldn't make my mind up whether I can rank it or not, because it isn't something that we rank. As a wrestling match, it was probably a high D. As a piece of something a bit different, it was probably a C, because it was just something a bit different. I think it would have been better in the middle of the show, but I understand why it wasn't. But the Raptor didn't hate it, and she commented that she wouldn't want to watch it all the time. She wouldn't necessarily want to watch real MMA, but for something a bit different in the show to break it up, it was okay. And I liked the fact that you were saying about some of the moves. It did look like they were sandbagging each other. I don't know whether they were doing that on purpose, because doing some of the slams in MMA, when you do the slams, obviously the other person isn't trying to go with you. It isn't helping you, and so that kind of added a little to the realism of the fight. I liked the fact it finished in the second round, considering it was a work shoot, and didn't go to the 3 rounds. I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, that was a good decision.
Yeah, so I really don't know how I feel about it. As something a bit different, a C. As a wrestling match, a D.
I don't think we needed the loss
Why
on
did
Ward.
Well,
like
we're
we
going to get to
did
this instantly now.
The problem is that Hagar could not lose
why
this.
was the Dubsy Dub?
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah,
that was the
Hagar
problem.
couldn't win this. No.
Let's move on to.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the better fighting that came in the ring afterwards.
Yes. So after that, Sean Spears jumps Hagar and Jericho. MJF comes out. Sammy comes out for the save. I really wanted Sammy to come off the top of the cage. I am very sad that Sammy did not come.
Yeah.
It gets -1 Sammy on the top of a cage this show, because that out of nowhere would have saved this.
I'm just going to say what's in my notes because I've just read it. It just goes, "Go on, Dean!" Oh no!
Dean Malenko, he just got his ass kicked.
I was like, "Yeah, Dean, do a hold!" Oh no.
Just got fucking ended.
I did quite like the tease of the Wardlow face turn though. I thought that was very well done. Good story work.
Well, not subtle, but it was nice.
Enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he'd had his honourable battle, and then it was
Everyone
all fucked on. And he was like,
"No!" He's like, "No, I want to have an honourable fight," which is good.
You've got to face turn him. He's too lovely, and he brings in the woman dollars. They're important.
I did turn to the Raptor and say, I did turn to the Raptor when he went to, I said, "Oh, look, it's the birth of the Chadliest Men faction."
Yes!
It's the birth.
Chads!
The wholesome Chads.
It's good times. But yeah, no, I enjoyed the end more than the match.
Yes. So, moving on from there, we had a Kaz, Eddie, and Penta promo. Any thoughts?
Pray to your gods.
I fucking love Righteous Kaz. It brings me joy. I've always been a Kaz fan. I've always been going on about him with his big dad energy in the background. I watched the road to this episode to watch him run about in the desert and stuff, which is now his new Timetron. I loved it. Mostly for Kaz, the others were there. So, but overall, just good, good to see, bit of storytelling. But from my personal heart place, I fucking love Righteous Vigilante Kaz.
Yeah, it was solid. I enjoyed this. It was good. Pray to your god.
Yeah, I like this. I like the 3 different characters doing the promo together. I thought that was really cool.
There.
Yeah. Well, he just did his bit at the end, and I thought that worked really well. Right, moving on from that. Team Taz promo without Brian Cage. Any thoughts?
I still love them. They've got big 90s energy. They've got a nice mixture of actually threatening to little comedy bits.
Yep.
I like everything they do. They've now entered that solid bit of when, as opposed to other wrestlers come on and go, "Oh, it's time for their 30 seconds of filling up the screen." I never get that feeling with Team Taz. I'm always kind of excited. Yeah, exactly. They're good.
So then we had our first wrestling match. We had the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky versus Darby in a handicap match. Page wins with the ego's edge. Thoughts and scores?
I fucking loved this match. I thought everything about it was great. It's one of my favourite matches of the show. The start made Darby look fucking great and was super fast and super tight, and I expect that from all the men in that ring. They're all B+ players in my opinion. I liked Ego shoving Sky out of the way to catch the coffin drop into a slam. That was wicked. And no one eats shit like Darby does. He'll make you look amazing. The pacing didn't drop during the break. that really that kept me hyped. Filled my heart with joy.
The thing we discussed a week before. God damn it.
Thanks, Nick Jackson and Tony. Obviously, the stomping during the break of Scorpio and Darby looked fucking brutal. There was some awesome rotating backbreakers, and Darby sells backbreakers like no one else. It's wicked. I love the Scorpion death drop counter from Darby. That was awesome as well. The zip ties. So clever. I loved it. And I did complete misdirection because he was zip tied. I just went, oh, Ethan is out, so Darby can win now. The fact he got back up and pulled him out, great mislead. Just loads of
That's what really made this match for me.
Yeah, this match had so much misdirection in it. And obviously I went in going, it's going to be a good match. Darby's going to win. It won't upset me, but it's so obvious.
Yeah.
And then the heels won.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't expect that. This was a clever, well-wrestled, well-paced, strong story match, which can show Darby either sliding into more dark things and showing that he won't help him with his cheating with the zip ties, or it's showing weakness in Darby and having to learn from his arrogance. It showed the heels to be strong enough. I fucking loved it. I gave it a high B, possibly an A. I really enjoyed this match.
I really enjoyed the subverting of expectations in this match. I think it was actually done really well, where you expect how you always expect a babyface 2-on-1 match to go, loads of shit to go down there, the babyface to somehow take out the one person and then, get the pin. But, there was some very good subversion here. I love every wrestler in this ring. I think they're all really good. And I think it was a solid match. I haven't got much to say about it apart from the story is a bit weird to me. It's just like, why didn't Darby just bring literally anyone else? He only was not allowed to bring Sting. Why didn't he just bring literally anyone else? All those
He's
people
He's caught up in his own ego.
Yeah, I guess, but just bring anyone. But other than that, yeah, it's a high B from me.
Morg.
So I struggled to score this match because scoring a handicap match is very difficult for me because it doesn't have the normal kind of pacing that a match has. I really enjoyed, like you say, the subverting of expectations. I thought that was really clever, and I liked the fact that the heels came out on top. But because I really struggled to score it, and after the previous match, which I'd put as unranked, I only gave it a C, but that's only because I was just really struggling. And the more you two have talked about it, the more I think it was a lot better than I was giving it credit for at the time.
Watch it again, man.
Yeah,
give it another proper watch.
Yeah, good match.
Yeah, I think so. I think I might have been a bit harsh on it. So following on from that, quick Wingmen promo. Thoughts?
Love them. They're great.
Perfect comedy.
What? Not enough to probably rank. Mid-card heels. Lovely.
Yeah.
My favourite.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Then we have Orange Cassidy with the Best Friends and Chris Statlander versus Cesar Bononi with the rest of the Wingmen. Cassidy wins with the Orange Punch. What did you guys think of the match and what score did you give it?
Why wouldn't Orange just let them dress
them Match of the fucking night!
Why would he just let them dress them up?
Little bit of expectation subversion again. No entrance for Bononi. And I was like, Bononi's deserving an entrance. You can't just fucking squashed him. How dare you? He could have just pulled Pete out on his bed or whatever, but no.
Yeah.
And then the match started. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't the cleanest, crispest match we've seen in wrestling. Bononi did get to look fucking... Bononi did get to look strong and, great. He's been maintained it. And fucking Nick Nemeth's tan was already at 150%. Then they were tanning and dressing Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy pulled off a working trip, which I always like. The assisted leap was a bit wobbly for me and looked a bit dangerous. But there was some other great stuff in here. We got a DDT into a counter into a stunner that was wicked. We got the Chuck Taylor sliding thumbs up. This was a wonderful comedy match. that refilled my indie-loving soul bar, especially with Avalon crying with Benoni afterwards.
In platoon cry holding the dying soldier.
My fucking sides. I would say technically this match is a C. I gave it an A. So
do you know what you're writing down, Strange? It's a fucking
what am I writing down?
This is what I love from wrestling. I do love other wrestling, don't get me wrong, but I need a wrestling to entertain me, and this was very entertaining. It was bollocks, don't get me wrong, but I was glued to watching this, and this entertained me far better than a lot better matches because they had characters. They had everybody there was there for a reason, and there was storytelling of why it was happening. It may have been bollocks and them just trying to dress up Orange Cassidy, but it made every character make sense why they were there, and it all worked. It was perfect. It was an A.
So the Raptor was in. So this was the other point where the Raptor was had influence. The Raptor was in hysterics during this. Genuinely found this absolutely hilarious.
Me too.
I thought this was so funny. So I, like you, Strange, I'm almost exactly the same. C as a wrestling match, and then A for a comedy match, because this is how you do a comedy match. This was absolutely brilliant. It was hilarious, but there was enough wrestling to keep it being a match. And I like the fact that Benoni looked strong all the way through. And fair play, that was one of the best orange punches he's done. It's still, I think, one of the best punches out there. When he rocked Benoni with that, he's like, yeah, that would knock you the fuck out.
I also forgot that Orange Cassidy did the thumbs up behind Peter while he was crying over the dead Benoni.
Yes.
That also made me laugh.
Oh, why is Peter Avalon just
So
everything he does turns to gold?
He should be in charge of whatever.
I want to be his friend.
Moving on from there.
Give him the second show. Just give it to him.
Give Avalon the second show. It'll be amazing.
Following on from that, so we had Jungle Boy, Kenny, and Don Callis segment. Any thoughts?
I'm getting a little bit bored of these, but the only thing that really caught my attention was, "I'll get you next week, Jungle Boy. I'll get you next week."
That saved it.
Otherwise, a bit dull. I don't think as entertaining as Kenny can be. He's more entertaining in smaller sections.
I don't want to get my Jim Cornette hat on, but do we really want our world champion screaming lines like he was a Saturday morning cartoon villain?
Yes, because it's Kenny.
Kenny was never cool and on.
Yeah.
I know Kenny was never cool, but I'd like Kenny to actually show some of his wrestling abilities instead of.
I think
I got
you.
I think the point is he will show that when he's in the ring, and I think that's part of his heel gimmick is that he'll show you how good he is when he's in the ring.
No, he'll cheat and win because that's all they've been doing with the Elite for the last month. But yeah, I hope so, mate. I hope so.
I certainly hope so against Jungle Boy. Anyway, moving on. Hardy Family Office backstage promo. Any thoughts?
Cage in a cage.
I have 3 notes. Cage in a cage. Well, I'll cross off one of my notes. Cage in a cage. That's off. Ali laughs like Naga the fucking serpent from.
I love that laugh.
Anime. I've forgotten the name. I'm bored.
Nothing.
Was that just you laughing? Or sorry, I just heard a squeak. I'm bored of Matt Hardy feuding with everyone who arrives. He's getting a bit like Dustin now. And he almost won me back for a bit with some of the, was it the Taz feud I quite liked? Did he feud with Taz? Have I made that up? Either way, I was getting interested for a bit. I'm just bored of Matt Hardy. Break him up a bit, guys. Let's see a little bit less of him. Like a little bit less of Kenny being an asshole. Skippable. That's my opinion.
I'm going to stick with what I said last week. I don't really have an issue with this. I don't have an issue with them bringing an old school feud in. At some point, they're both going to point out that they were the least successful halves of their former tag teams, except when they left Dub Z. Except when they left Dub Z, both times. Impact made both of them. Following on from that, we had Cody Rhodes with Brock Anderson. Sorry, Cody Rhodes and Brock Anderson with Arn Anderson versus Aaron Solo and QT Marshall. Brock gets the win with a jackknife cover. What did you guys think of the match, and what score did you give it?
Could I interject here?
I'm going to actively. Of course you can, Muir. I know I'm not the talky
three
one.
notes here, and my 3 notes were tag Homelander in. I wish this was Borg. Borg eat Moon. Those were the only notes I wrote for this match. That's how bored I was. Right, anyway, go on, Strange.
This is like a reverse of how I normally review matches. This is how my final take, because I am going to hate what I have to say about this. First, we get Brock showing up in his boxers. Good luck, nice. We get a fine wrestling start between Solo and Brock. He was a bit rusty at the start, but he really gets into it by the end.
He does, yeah.
Cody versus Solo was really solid, but I just didn't care. Brock's got phenomenal shoulder fucking rams on him. They looked really good, and he got sharper throughout the match. His DDT with a little full curl-up was great. I just didn't care. Cody's hot tag was good, but I hated it. That flying head scissor takedown he did was awesome. I've complimented a lot of destroyers in recent episodes. We had the cool step over ones. We've had a couple of assisted destroyers. Not this week. Every destroyer is a standard boring one. Drop it, Cody. It's not good. This was a solid match. Really good technical wrestling. Had story going in, story going out. It's technically a B. I'm giving it a C because the Nightmare Factory, the Factory are absolutely no threat to anyone. They've only lost. I'm sick of seeing Homelander beat people, and I used to compliment him all the time before. I'm bored of it. I was bored of the Nightmare People 6 months ago, and I'm still bored of them now. Maybe you could lose a feud. Just throwing that out there. Maybe. Sorry.
Also, shouldn't I'm not the biggest kids man or anything, but shouldn't Cody be, like on paternity leave or something like that? Like looking after his wife and child?
She's not had it yet, has she?
She has?
Has she? I didn't think she was due yet.
I thought she did.
No, she's not been 9 months yet. They'd only just found out she was pregnant.
I thought she had it recently. Oh, my mistake then.
It's Renee has just given birth. Renee has just had hers, and I believe she was pregnant before Brandy.
I may be confused. That's completely on me, but still.
It was a C. It was an okay match. It was all right. Brock looked good. But he did just look like he was generic wrestling man. He should have had an entrance. He should have made. This was supposed to be his big debut. The commentators bigged up this debut hugely, and credit to Shivani and JR. They did a great job of bigging him up. That the match itself didn't. I like the fact he got the pin. And again, you were in that situation where I think he was always a bit like Jake Hager earlier. He was always going to get the pin. I really wanted him to turn on Cody right at the end and go and his father and join the Factory.
No,
that would have been so much more interesting.
No, the Factory doesn't.
But I don't need to see them get beaten as well. Brandy has given birth 3 days ago. So you know.
Oh, there we go. Oh, when 3 days ago?
Take a holiday, Cody.
Well, I'm assuming he will get crap kicked out of him. Well, these Dynamites are pre-recorded, so I bet you. So I bet you. Yes, I believe these are pre-recorded. So I bet you he's going to get injured in the strap match next week.
Oh God.
This week.
Let's move on past Cody fatigue to something good.
Jake and Lance promo.
Lance angry.
I saw a picture of Jake a few weeks back, and he looked really ill. He had tubes in his nose at a convention. God, doesn't he look healthy again? Filled me with joy. He's always verbose. He's always great. He should use his real name of Aurelian because it's cooler than Jake. I like the fact that although he is the established bad one, Lance is in the background. And for what Lance was doing, I just wrote down, yeah! And I gave it a B because I love it.
Right. Just angry Lance ready to go. What more could you want from him at the moment? Perfect.
Being Darby's tag team partner earlier because it would have made more sense.
I'm with you,
It
mate.
would have made more sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so that would have been such a cool moment. You know,
Well, he
Ethan.
could have come down at the end and saved him. You know, just gone. No.
Well, they
fuck
did.
You.
I thought they were going to do a beatdown on him, and Lance was going to come in for the save. I honestly thought that was going to happen, and they just went to commercial. Following on from that, Andrade El Idolo sit-down interview with JR. What did you guys think of this?
If you're going to let him Spanish and subtitle him. If you're going to English him, don't subtitle him. He's not that hard to understand. Otherwise, it was interesting enough. I'll see where it goes. It's a passable C, just out of didn't hate it. Can't say it was really anything interesting.
Yeah, it was solid enough. I think just either let him speak in Spanish and just have it translated. It'll be easier for him, or just let him speak in English. He was fine, and he's got a surprise for us. So it's going to be Naito, obviously.
Mate.
So
it's Rush.
I know.
The Raptor and I were talking about this, and his accent is very thick. So I understand why you've put him with a manager. It was the reason he got put with the manager in Dub Z, I believe. Vicky is fine to be that manager. I don't think we needed another manager. So I'm all right with that. It's fine. But this was not the groundbreaking JR sit down segment that I wanted.
No. I am the game.
It's not the Mick Foley. It's not the Mick Foley sit down interview. This might have been better done over 3 weeks, letting people know who he is a bit more. But maybe they work better for baby faces. Maybe they work better for baby faces. Yeah, but he's tied up with Penta. Following on from that, we had Hangman and Dark Order promo. What did you guys think of this?
God, Hangman's the fucking best. His positivity and the diversion and how he compliments every member of the Dark Order, establishing a team, and it's good leadering. Yeah. He is their leader. Yeah, 5 jacket. It's all right, I guess. Brilliant, nice little joke in there for the boys who watch all the BTE stuff. Yep. Still showing he's hiding from his problems, but how these are his friends. It's good NPCing. I gave it a B. I really enjoyed this. Everything Hangman does is great. Acting, wonderful.
I think it just shows great character development that he may be hiding, but he's also rebuilding his trust issues and all that sort of stuff with this group, and just having fun with people. At the end of the day, what does it matter about not going after the world title if he's enjoying his life and he's enjoying his life, sort of thing. So yeah, it's solid. I enjoyed this. Yeah,
I was going to actually highlight, if you guys didn't, the avoiding talking about Kenny, the way he diverts away from it. I was brilliant. That gave it an A for me, because I just loved that bit of storytelling, and it was so subtle, but really obvious at the same time. If that makes sense.
You know what, Morg? I'm going to go with you. I'll give it an A as well. Fuck it. I'm being positive.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's subtle enough for wrestling. This is not highbrow movie. But you had to clock it. Oh yeah, he completely avoided that, and because of the way he switched, because he's just so good. I fucking love Hangman. Right, moving on. Penelope Ford versus Julia Hart with the Varsity Blondes. Penelope wins by submission. What did you guys think of the match, and what score did you give it?
I like how they went straight into the break. This match was 8 minutes long, including the break. I'm not sure how long an American break is. I think it's about 3 minutes. So we get a 5-minute match. Woo! It was all right. Traditional women's match, solid enough. Few flippy things. Ford's got solid strikes. We come back to some chopper. Well, puncher. Pace dropped a little post break, but what's that move called? Indice Deathlock? Oh yeah, the Indian Deathlock's pretty cool move. Fucking like that. Yeah, it was fine women's match. Better than a lot of the things we've seen the women given 8 minutes for. Not as good as some of the top tier stuff. I gave it a C. It was okay.
After watching the Cinderella Stardom tournament recently, which has just been
Oh God, it's an F.
where Utami and Suri put on probably one of the best female matches I've seen. A 45-minute draw, if anyone's interested. Me and Magoo gave it 5.5 stars. Yeah, this was poor, just poor. But you've got to get. I thought this was going to be them trying to get Hart over, but no, we've got to keep Penelope interesting.
Ford can't lose anymore.
No,
She's
she has
lost so
much. Yeah, but Hart didn't need to lose either because they're like the young up and comers. Let's get them, on the show. But whatever. I'm more interested in what happened afterwards, and I gave it a C.
I gave it a C. Quick thought about the ad break, and I just thought about this at the time. If we were watching any other wrestling show, or even if we were watching it picture in picture, all these bits that where they cut out, we wouldn't see anyway, and we would just come back to the babyface comeback. So I'm getting less annoyed. It's a bit annoying that it just happens to be that the one that they have to go to ad break in always happens in the section you put the women's match in. The thing that annoyed me about this match, I gave it a C. It was a match. But the thing that was they went on about Penelope being a cheerleader and her cheerleading background. Why couldn't these two have a fucking feud? Why couldn't Julia have got the surprise win, and we'll have a storyline between two female wrestlers that is not about the belt, just a storyline. But I don't care if it got 8 minutes. 8 minutes is fine.
Yeah,
and this would be match one in a feud about these two ex-cheerleaders, one of whom is the bad girl heel and is your best bad girl, mean girl heel, and one who is the young, bright, chirpy. And we could just have a story and a feud that is not about the belt.
I get you, Morg. But
God,
also
I miss a bad one.
They have like 50 women and only have 8 minutes to put them on the show, so they can't have a feud.
So yeah,
well,
moving
we'll
on
be
from
up
that.
to 16 minutes on 13th of August.
Hey!
Oh, sorry.
So Miro comes out. Miro comes out, cuts a creepy promo on Penelope, and then brawls with Brian Pillman.
I love psychologically damaged Miro. He's so good.
Abusive from God's favourite champion. What a fucking line. And then he has more of an MMA fight with Brian Pillman than anyone else has had on this show. Yeah, great. I'm really excited. He's a great villain because he actually feels sinister and evil. Like, he doesn't feel like a comedy.
He just wanted to come out and beat someone up, so he just made an excuse in his head. Oh, I need to defend Penelope. I'm going to go kick these two guys' asses. Perfect. Great healing. I love him.
You guys coming round on Miro now, then? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, abusive friend Miro, wouldn't me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to see where it goes. Are we leading to a Kip face turn? What are we leading to? But I want to see where it goes.
I just want him to go around beating people up, being a proper heel.
Yeah.
I like.
I'm giving it a B, boys.
I think him and Pillman will have a good match as well, because we know Miro also knows how to give.
Oh yeah, 100%, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, he was giving
15 minutes.
He was giving Pillman in that segment.
Yeah.
Pillman did not look weak with Miro.
Because he's a super professional.
Griff got taken out, and then Pillman did the save, and they had a brawl, and it was like, oh, this is good. Right, moving on. Britt Baker and Vicky Guerrero promo.
Oh, God, no.
I'm just gonna read my notes in order.
Go on then, mate.
Solid enough.
Yeah.
Solid enough. Oh no! No! I did say this about Tully, but Vicky was never a wrestler. No!
Before, like 5 minutes before it as well. We were just discussing it for some random reason about Vicky wrestling. Because you were just like, she's not rebel or something like that. And then it happened. And I was like, oh no.
I've left it unranked out of how mystified I am by the situation, shall we say. No.
I'd also like to point out that they don't have enough time to get half the female roster on this show, but they have time to get Vicky Guerrero wrestling. It's not good, boys.
Yeah,
Morg.
it's a way that Nyla, it's a way that Monster Nyla can face Britt without it being for the title, and
Why do we need Nyla fighting for the belt again?
because she's the big strong character.
I'm
But
sick
you're
of
having,
it.
but you're having a
Everyone.
heel, you're having a heel versus heel, and it means nothing. And this feud does not interest me. And you know,
Head
as
on
the
arrival.
Western, as the Western women's wrestling fan, you haven't got. Big Swole. Big Swole is who Britt should be feuding with again.
Red Velvet.
Redo that feud.
Fucking
Velvet.
anyone.
Velvet. Yeah, Velvet. That's a good one. That's a good transitional feud. Big Swole. Chris Statlander. All of these are good transitional feuds when you get to the person you want to put the belt on
Kylan
next.
King.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Riho, and Rio, and
Yeah.
anyone. Sorry.
Just not Nyla. Nyla should be feuding with a different babyface. Nyla should be feuding with Layla Hirsch.
No.
That should be the monster versus, and you turn Layla Hirsch into the monster killer, and that's who Britt's got to be wary of. Anyway, yeah. FTR and Proud and Powerful video
Bleh.
package.
Now moving on to something I did enjoy.
Yeah, FTR and Proud and Powerful video package. What are your thoughts?
I've only got 2 lines of notes because it went on for a bit, and you don't really want to comment on everything. Says man who comments on everything. Solid storyline work. I like the comparison, and it was a really good face shift while still being rough and aggressive from Proud and the Powerful. So yeah, I liked it. Good.
I thought
Sorry, boys, not very exciting
did
on this one.
real well at rebuilding up the Pride and the Powerful. I thought it was a really good rebuild,
Yeah.
and it's made them both look really strong going into obvious match. Really enjoyed it.
This is a match I've wanted for a while. I mean,
What?
FTR are
Yeah.
there to feud with all the top tag teams. And Pride and the
As they
Powerful have
should
been
be.
part of the inner circle for a bit. And when they were heels, now Pride and the Powerful are coming through. I want to see Pride and the Powerful, FTR. Yeah, I'm well up for this match. This is what I want to see. I want to see them go up against. I want to see FTR go up against OG Dark Order. I want to see those, those solid indie tag teams all having them, because FTR didn't get to do the indie bit and really regretted it in a way. I'm sure they did a little bit before.
Now is their
but
time.
You know what I mean? Their name got big over in Dub Z, got really big, whereas these other guys built their names up massively on the indie scene. And now's their time to have the matches they wanted to have in Dub Z. Yeah, perfectly good.
Yeah, it's good.
Moving on from that, Mark Sterling and Jade Cargill segment.
Same
Solid
segment.
enough. He really helps. I find worked a little bit better than previously, but it is just the same segment. Nick is right.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Fine.
Yeah, but yeah.
But can it lead to a match? Can it lead to a feud with somebody, please? Because she is that bitch who. No, she's gonna feud with. She's gonna feud with not with Brandy. She's gonna feud with Britt, because another heel versus heel feud, where it won't actually have a championship match.
Right. Moving on.
Don Callis joins commentary. Yeah, John Callis joins commentary. Penta with Alex Abrahates, Kaz and Eddie Kingston versus Good Brothers and Matt Jackson. Anderson gets the win after Nick Jackson sprays Penta in the eyes with the cold spray. What did you guys think of the match, and what score did you give it?
It's Team Vengeance versus Team Carney in a WWE camera cuts match. The camera went a bit crazy in this one, and it bugged me. On the other hand, this match was fucking everything I love. I love Kaz's new intro music. I'm in with it. I was like, yeah! And I'm a fan of this team. This is a setup team I could watch in everything. It's got a little bit of everything. And the match is obviously good. We get to see Penta's beautiful sling blades. Aren't they great? Jackson with the turnbuckle Michael's cell when he got thrown onto it.
Yes,
that was
mate.
brilliant. Gallows spent like the entire match occasionally doing powerhouse things, then getting comedy knocked out and falling over, and I love Gallows. We had a good outside clusterfuck, even if Kaz did disappear for quite a long time. GNA holding up Matt Jackson so they could do the foot ram made me laugh. In the middle of still a good wrestling match. Kaz's hot tag was wonderful, and I always pop for his springboard leg drop. It's one of my favourite moves. Penta pulled off a fucking beautiful Cabrador on Matt Jackson. Kaz did the Angel's Wings. That was a fucking pop for me. Gallows is still eating shit. Anderson's super cutter is fucking gold. If I had two criticisms, it's the spray is starting to get a bit overused now. Maybe do that a little bit less. And I wanted just more Kaz versus Anderson. I don't think Anderson got enough time to really show off in the ring, and Kaz is the ultimate opponent for him. But that's just me going, I'd love to watch these two like American traditional wrestlers hurt each other. But otherwise, this was a great match, and I wanted more of it, and I gave it a B. A high B, let's say, because I got very excited talking about it again.
It's hard to bring up anything else about this match. It was really good. Like, Kaz versus Anderson is just young Kaz versus Kaz. Well, younger Kaz. It's great.
Mwah!
My only issue is I'm getting very, very tired of this evil NJPW heavyweight championship belt run of we must interfere in every match. Every match that the Elite have that's interference, can they just win clean just once? Like, please show why they're powerful, not just because they heal. It's just very tiring when your top guys can't win clean, even if they are heels. It's just very tiring for me. That's my own complaint. But it is a high B match. It was great, and I really did enjoy it. I just had nothing else to say about it after you said everything good.
I loved Gallows in this.
I was excited.
Spending the whole time just getting kicked off the apron repeatedly.
Annihilated every time trying to get near the ring. I loved it.
But one of the problems
as we come round to Miro, Morg has come round to Gallows.
Sorry,
Morg.
What you got? I always liked him. Don't forget, he used to be the partner of. He was in the Straight Edge Society.
Yeah.
He was and he was rescued by Phil. So one of the things you got to remember is that this is what the fans kept asking for. They wanted that old school Bullet Club. You said it, that NJPW feel. So they wanted that kind of Bullet Club, and that is the thing they did. Was the always interference, big over the top.
It feels like Russo booking, mate.
Yeah, but they'll get there, and it's the more it is, the more it'll get towards the point of them getting their comeuppance. I think they're having to heel so much as well, just to be heels, and they're so over the top and meta in their healing that they're trying to be very careful, I think, to not cross that line into being cool heels. I think they want to actually be heels, not be cool heels where everybody starts cheering them. It's like, oh, great, guys. Well, that lasted for 6 months, and now we're going to turn face again because we keep getting cheered all the time.
They could just be cheered and be heels.
Yeah, the problem with that is it's the reverse of the Roman Reigns John Cena problem, and I want my heels to be booed. Because I want that, I don't want the reverse problem. Yeah,
I don't, and I don't want my heels only winning because they're shit-eating heels. Like, Miro is so much more of an interesting character because he can actually win a match on his own. He actually feels like a threat, unlike the Elites that I'm just like, I'd just hire 7 guys to watch the ring and protect me, and then I'd just beat one of them clean and get the belt.
Yeah. Like I say, I just think it's that you're trying to not do exactly all those years of turning Roman heel was the best thing they ever did,
Yeah, I'm not arguing this point, but
Yeah.
there has to be better booking than lols. We cheat every match.
Yeah, I think yeah, they just need to be. I think it suits the Bucks. I don't know whether it suits Kenny quite as much. I think that's the thing. But the problem is they're all
I'm with
clumped
you
together
on
in
that.
the elite. I think it suits the Bucks because although they are the best tag team, it's their arrogance level that is what makes them such a heel. And I think Kenny's trying to do the same thing, whereas Kenny's just a dork who's the champion, and he's a bit of a twat when he's a heel.
Yeah, but
And
still, I don't want to take away from this
Kenny
match.
used to
But
mostly
yes,
win
this
with
match
skill.
was really good. This was
Oh
a
yeah,
big.
the match was fucking great.
Yeah, this was a big.
Ignore our criticisms.
Yeah, it was. It was the Young Bucks over the top clusterfuck of awesome that I love and give a B to every week. And yes, I'm giving it a B as well. It was really good. So, Mr. Strange, through the power of letter maths and science.
Oh, the incredibly stout.
What's our overall
Boys, this
rating?
might be the highest ranking show. Well, if I cross this D out with that A and all these C's with those B's, but leave that one because it's a plus. We've got like a high B/A show overall.
Yeah, it was a good show.
We had, although a week or so. Let's go with a high B. I don't think I'll be talking about this show forever, but like a weaker intro, a couple of weak promos, but every match was entertaining. Even the match I was fucking bored of, and if I was 7 inches taller and 100 pounds heavier, I'd slap Cody Rhodes because I'm so sick of him. Even that match was technically good and entertaining to watch in the ring. So yeah, high B. This is one of our most positive shows we've had. Like, it's scaled back up because last week was pretty positive, but no, great show. Good. High B. It's a Shadow Lord of a show, but a good Shadow Lord, like the Margrave. There we go, dropping a bit of the deep lore for you boys.
I don't want the deep lore.
So there you have it. That's our show and our reviews for the week. No discussions this week due to Mr. Strange having to rush off and run a game of Werewolf. And I would like to thank Anchor.fm for hosting the podcast. You can find us Wrestleopinionated on YouTube, Spotify and Anchor.fm. Over to you, Mr. Muir.
Thank you all for listening. I will save Starlight Kid from Audio Tie. Don't worry, guys. I'm on it. And if you'd like to send anything in to us, please send it in to wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, and WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Over to you, Strange.
Just before we actually do my important and very necessary bit of the show, who got swapped to the good guys then from Audio Tie?
Nobody, mate.
Wasn't it?
I thought it was a fly.
Oh, I thought it was a swap on each. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to the show and getting that little bit of Stardom lore there. If you could smash your face into the like button, the subscribe, the little bell, share it to your friends, tattoo it on your face, click the little heart symbol on Spotify and whatever it is on Anchor, we would very much appreciate it. I know shows have been a little bit shorter lately, but don't worry, as of August 13, I'm sure our time will be doubled. But once again, cheers for listening, and back to you, Morg.
So all that's left to be said is goodbye and good night.